Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. Olivia stood in her cozy apartment as she put the finishing touches on her makeup. Her reflection smiled back at her, smooth skin, high cheekbones, and long lashes framing deep brown eyes. She adjusted her emerald green blouse, smoothing out a wrinkle. At 30 years old, Olivia felt more comfortable in her own skin than ever before. A knock at the door made her heart leap. "Come in," she called out, knowing it would be her parents. The door swung open to reveal Martha and George beaming as they entered with arms full of brightly wrapped gifts. "Happy birthday, sweetheart," Martha exclaimed, rushing over to envelope Olivia in a tight hug. George set the presents down on the coffee table before joining the embrace. "Our beautiful girl all grown up," he said, voice thick with emotion. Olivia felt tears pricking at her eyes, overwhelmed by the love and acceptance radiating from her parents. Their unwavering support had meant everything to her over the years. "Thank you both so much for being here," she managed, pulling back to look at them. "I couldn't ask for better parents." Martha dabbed at her own eyes. "We wouldn't miss this for the world, honey. Now, let's get this party started." They settled onto the plush sectional sofa, Olivia in the middle, with her parents on either side. George produced a bottle of champagne from seemingly nowhere, popping the cork with practiced ease. The bubbly liquid fizzed as he poured 3 flutes. "A toast," he proclaimed, raising his glass, "to our incredible daughter Olivia, who has shown us the true meaning of courage and authenticity. We are so proud of the woman you've become." "To Olivia!" Martha echoed, clinking her glass against the others. Olivia sipped the champagne, letting the effervescence dance on her tongue. "You two are going to make me cry off all my makeup," she laughed, feeling lighter than air. "Well, we can't have that," Martha said with a wink. "Time for presents." George reached for a large rectangular box wrapped in shimmering gold paper. "This one first," he insisted, handing it to Olivia. She carefully removed the wrapping, revealing an ornate wooden box inlaid with mother-of-pearl. Olivia gasped as she lifted the lid, exposing a stunning antique oil lamp nestled on velvet lining. The brass was intricately etched with swirling patterns and studded with tiny gemstones that caught the light. "It's absolutely gorgeous," Olivia breathed, lifting the lamp to examine it more closely. "Where on earth did you find this?" Martha and George exchanged a knowing glance. "We came across it in a little shop during our trip to Morocco," Martha explained. "The shopkeeper told us it was a very special lamp, a birthday wish lamp, to be exact." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "A birthday wish lamp? What does that mean?" George leaned forward, eyes twinkling. "According to legend, on your birthday, you can make one wish by rubbing the lamp. And if your heart is pure, that wish will come true." "You don't really believe that, do you?" Olivia asked, though she couldn't help but feel a flutter of excitement in her chest. "Of course not," Martha laughed. "But it's a lovely story, isn't it? And either way, we thought you'd appreciate such a unique piece." Olivia set the lamp on the coffee table, admiring how it gleamed in the late afternoon light. "It's perfect," she said sincerely. "Thank you both so much." They spent the next hour chatting and laughing as Olivia opened the rest of her gifts: a silk scarf from Paris, a first edition of her favorite novel, a gift certificate for a spa day. As the champagne flowed, Olivia felt a deep contentment settle over her. She had come so far from the scared, confused child she once was. With her parents' love and support, she had blossomed into the woman she was always meant to be. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in vibrant oranges and pinks, Martha glanced at her watch. "Oh my, look at the time. We should get going, dear." "I'm sure Olivia wants to get ready for her date night." Olivia's cheeks flushed. "Mom?" she groaned good-naturedly. George chuckled as he stood, pulling Olivia into another hug. "Have a wonderful evening, sweetheart. We love you so much." "I love you too," Olivia said, squeezing them both tightly before walking them to the door. Once her parents had left, Olivia turned back to survey her apartment. Her gaze landed on the antique lamp still sitting on the coffee table. She walked over and picked it up, running her fingers along the cool metal surface. "A birthday wish lamp?" she mused aloud. "I wonder." Before she could talk herself out of it, Olivia closed her eyes and rubbed the side of the lamp. "I wish," she began, then paused. What did she truly want, more than anything? The answer came to her in a flash of clarity. "I wish I had been born female," she whispered, her voice barely audible. For a moment, nothing happened. Olivia opened her eyes, feeling a bit silly. Of course it was just a story, a fun bit of make-believe. She set the lamp back down and headed to her bedroom to change for her date with Claire. As she stood in front of her full-length mirror, Olivia froze. Something felt different. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but there was a subtle shift in her reflection. Her face seemed softer somehow, her hips slightly wider. She shook her head, certain she was imagining things. Olivia's heart began to race. Her body had changed in ways that should have been impossible. With trembling fingers, she felt between her legs, gasping at what she found, or rather, what she didn't find. "Oh my God," she whispered, paranoid, staring at her reflection in wonder. It worked. It actually worked. Olivia sank onto her bed, mind reeling as she tried to process what had happened. Memories began to shift and reorganize themselves in her mind. She recalled a carefree childhood filled with ballet lessons and tea parties, giggling with friends at sleepovers as they painted each other's nails. Her first period at age 12, her mother hugging her and welcoming her to womanhood. There were no painful years of dysphoria, no struggle to be recognized as her true self. In this new reality, Olivia had always been female in body as well as spirit. Tears of joy streamed down her face as the full impact hit her. The wish had erased decades of pain and replaced them with the life she had always dreamed of. A ping from her phone jolted Olivia back to the present. It was a text from Claire. "Can't wait to see you tonight, birthday girl. Love you!" Olivia smiled, remembering that she still had a date to get ready for. She wiped her eyes and stood, marveling at how natural her body felt now. No more discomfort or disconnect. She was finally, truly whole. As she rifled through her closet, Olivia's hand landed on a slinky red dress she didn't recognize. A memory surfaced of buying it last week, specifically for tonight. She slipped it on, relishing the way the silk caressed her skin. The dress hugged her curves perfectly, accentuating her feminine figure. Olivia applied a fresh coat of lipstick and fluffed her hair, hardly able to believe the woman staring back at her in the mirror. She had always been beautiful, but now there was an effortless radiance about her. The last traces of tension she'd carried for so long had melted away, leaving behind pure confidence and joy. The doorbell rang just as Olivia was slipping on her heels. She hurried to answer it, heart fluttering with anticipation. Claire stood in the hallway, stunning in a tailored black pantsuit. Her blue eyes widened as she took in Olivia's appearance. "Wow," Claire breathed. "You look absolutely incredible." Olivia beamed, pulling her girlfriend in for a hug. "So do you," she murmured. As they broke apart, Claire produced a small velvet box from her pocket. "I was going to wait until dinner, but I just can't hold back any longer," she said, lowering herself to one knee. Olivia gasped, hands flying to her mouth as Claire opened the box to reveal a stunning diamond ring. "Olivia Marie Parker," Claire began, voice thick with emotion. "From the moment I met you, I knew you were the one. You are the kindest, bravest, most beautiful soul I've ever known. Will you do me the extraordinary honor of becoming my wife?" Tears spilled down Olivia's cheeks as she nodded emphatically. "Yes, 1,000 times yes!" Claire slipped the ring onto Olivia's finger before they clung to each other, laughing and crying with pure elation. "I love you so much," Olivia said when they finally parted. Claire tucked a strand of hair behind Olivia's ear, gazing at her adoringly. "I love you too, more than I could ever express. Now let's go celebrate your birthday and our engagement." As they left the apartment hand in hand, Olivia felt as though she could float away on sheer happiness. The magic of the lamp had given her the gift she'd always longed for, but Claire's love and acceptance were the true miracles in her life. They arrived at an upscale French restaurant where the maitre d' led them to a secluded table adorned with candles and fresh flowers. Claire pulled out Olivia's chair for her before taking her own seat. "I still can't believe this is real," Olivia said, admiring the way her ring sparkled in the candlelight. "It feels like a dream." Claire reached across the table to take her hand. "If it is a dream, I never want to wake up. You make me happier than I ever thought possible." They ordered champagne to toast their engagement, clinking glasses as they gazed into each other's eyes. The waiter brought out course after course of exquisite food, but Olivia barely tasted it. She was too caught up in the magic of the evening and the incredible woman across from her. As they shared a decadent chocolate soufflé for dessert, Claire's expression grew serious. "There's something else I wanted to talk to you about," she said, setting down her spoon. Olivia's brow furrowed with concern. "Is everything okay?" Claire nodded, a smile spreading across her face. "More than okay. You know how we've talked about wanting to start a family someday?" Olivia's heart began to race. "Yes." "Well, I think I'm ready," Claire said, reaching for Olivia's hand. "If you are, I'd love for us to start trying for a baby." Tears welled up in Olivia's eyes for what felt like the 100th time that day. In her old reality, the prospect of carrying a child had been an impossible dream. But now, in this new world, where she had always been female, it was suddenly within reach. "Oh, Claire," she breathed. "Nothing would make me happier. I want to have a baby with you more than anything." Claire's eyes shone with joy as she leaned across the table to hug Olivia tenderly. "We're going to be amazing mothers," she whispered. As they left the restaurant, wrapped up in each other's arms, Olivia felt as though her heart might burst from sheer happiness. In the span of a single day, her deepest wishes had come true. She was engaged to the love of her life with the promise of a family on the horizon. They decided to take a leisurely stroll through a nearby park, reveling in the warm summer evening. Fairy lights twinkled in the trees, casting a magical glow over everything. Olivia leaned her head on Claire's shoulder as they walked, feeling utterly content. "So," Claire said, a teasing lilt to her voice, "any thoughts on where you want to go for our honeymoon?" Olivia's eyes lit up. "Actually, I have the perfect idea. Remember how we've always talked about taking a world cruise someday?" Claire nodded, a smile spreading across her face. "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" "Why not make it our honeymoon?" Olivia suggested excitedly. "We could visit all those amazing places we've dreamed about. The Greek Isles, the Great Barrier Reef, the fjords of Norway." "That sounds absolutely perfect," Claire agreed, pulling Olivia close. "A romantic adventure around the world to start our new life together." As they discussed potential itineraries and destinations, Olivia's mind wandered to the incredible turn her life had taken. Just that morning, she had been planning to schedule consultations for gender confirmation surgery. Now, thanks to the magic of the birthday wish lamp, those concerns had vanished. She was free to simply enjoy being Claire's fiancée and future wife, without any of the complications or anxieties of her past. They made their way back to Olivia's apartment, both giddy with excitement for their future. As Claire went to use the bathroom, Olivia's gaze fell on the antique lamp still sitting on her coffee table. She picked it up, running her fingers over the intricate designs. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling a bit silly but overwhelmingly grateful. "You've given me more than I ever dared to hope for." For a moment, she could have sworn the lamp grew warm in her hands, as if acknowledging her gratitude. Olivia set it back down just as Claire emerged from the bathroom. "What do you say we open another bottle of champagne?" Claire suggested, wrapping her arms around Olivia's waist. "We have so much to celebrate." Olivia turned in her embrace, looping her arms around Claire's neck. "I love that idea," she murmured, leaning in for a hug. As their lips met, Olivia felt a sense of rightness settle over her. This was where she belonged, who she was always meant to be. The struggles and pain of her past had been washed away, leaving only joy and possibility in their wake. They spent the rest of the evening curled up on the couch, sipping champagne and dreaming about their future together. They talked about wedding plans, potential names for their future children, and all the places they wanted to explore on their world cruise honeymoon. As the night grew late, Claire reluctantly stood to leave. "I should probably get going," she said, though she made no move toward the door. "Some of us have to work tomorrow, even if it is your birthday week." Olivia pouted playfully. "Do you really have to go?" Claire's resolve visibly weakened. "Well, I suppose I could stay the night. I do have a change of clothes in my car for the gym." "Perfect," Olivia said, pulling her in for another hug. "I'm not ready for this day to end just yet." They got ready for bed together, moving around each other with the easy familiarity of a long-term couple. As they settled under the covers, Olivia nestled into Claire's arms, feeling utterly safe and loved. "Thank you for making this the best birthday ever," she murmured, already half asleep. Claire pressed a kiss to the top of her head. "You deserve all the happiness in the world, my love. Happy birthday." As Olivia drifted off to sleep, she sent up one last silent prayer of gratitude to whatever forces had brought her to this moment. Her life stretched out before her, full of love and possibility. She couldn't wait to see what the future held. The next morning, Olivia woke to sunlight streaming through the curtains and the comforting weight of Claire's arm draped across her waist. For a moment, she held her breath, afraid it had all been a wonderful dream. But as she became fully aware of her surroundings, she realized it was beautifully, incredibly real. She turned carefully in Claire's embrace, not wanting to wake her just yet. Olivia studied her fiancé's peaceful face, marveling at how lucky she was to have found such an amazing partner. Claire's eyelids fluttered, and she slowly blinked awake. "Good morning, beautiful," Claire mumbled, voice husky with sleep. Olivia leaned in to kiss her softly. "Good morning yourself, sleepyhead." They lay there for a while. Eventually, Claire glanced at the clock and groaned. "I really do have to get ready for work," she said reluctantly. "I know," Olivia sighed. "Go on, I'll make us some coffee." As Claire showered, Olivia padded to the kitchen to start the coffee maker. She hummed to herself as she moved about the space, still riding high on the events of the previous day. The ring on her finger caught the morning light, sending little rainbows dancing across the walls. Claire emerged from the bedroom, looking polished and professional in her work clothes. Olivia handed her a travel mug of coffee and kissed her cheek. "Have a great day, honey. I love you." "I love you too," Claire replied, before heading out the door. "I'll call you on my lunch break." Once alone, Olivia sipped her own coffee and contemplated how to spend her day off. She had originally planned to use the time to research surgeons, but that was no longer necessary. The realization hit her anew, bringing fresh tears of joy to her eyes. On impulse, Olivia dialed her mother's number. Martha picked up on the second ring. "Good morning, sweetheart. How are you feeling after all the excitement yesterday?" "I'm feeling amazing, Mom," Olivia said, unable to keep the grin out of her voice. "Actually, I have some news to share. Claire proposed last night." Martha's delighted squeal was so loud that Olivia had to hold the phone away from her ear. "Oh, honey, that's wonderful. Your father and I are so happy for you both. We always knew Claire was the one." They chatted for a while about the proposal and preliminary wedding ideas. Olivia found herself getting choked up as she described the previous evening. "I just feel so incredibly lucky," she said, "to have you and Dad and Claire and this beautiful life. I never thought I could be this happy." "You deserve every bit of it, my darling girl," Martha said warmly. "Your happiness is all we've ever wanted for you." After hanging up, Olivia decided to treat herself to a bit of pampering. She drew a luxurious bubble bath, complete with scented candles and soft music playing in the background. As she soaked, she allowed her mind to wander, envisioning the life that lay ahead. She pictured herself in a flowing white gown, walking down the aisle toward Claire. She imagined their honeymoon cruise, exploring exotic ports of call hand in hand. And most poignantly, she saw herself round with child, Claire's hand resting on her swollen belly as they felt their baby kick. These visions, once painfully out of reach, now felt beautifully attainable. Olivia sent up another silent prayer of gratitude to whatever forces had brought her to this reality. After her bath, Olivia decided to start looking into potential wedding venues. She spent hours browsing websites and creating a Pinterest board full of ideas. By the time Claire called on her lunch break, Olivia had a list of places to visit and a rough idea of color schemes. "Sounds like you've been busy," Claire laughed after Olivia filled her in. "I can't wait to start planning everything with you. Should we set a date?" They tossed around a few ideas before settling on a date the following spring, far enough away to plan properly, but not so far that they'd have to wait too long to be married. "I can't believe this is really happening," Olivia said, her voice full of wonder. "I keep expecting to wake up and find out it was all a dream." "It's very real, my love," Claire assured her, "and it's only the beginning of our happily ever after." After they hung up, Olivia's thoughts turned once again to the magical lamp that had made all of this possible. She walked over to where it sat on the coffee table, picking it up and cradling it gently in her hands. "I don't know if you can hear me," she said softly, "but I want you to know how grateful I am. You've given me the gift of truly being myself, of living the life I was always meant to have. I promise to cherish every moment and to use this second chance to spread as much love and kindness as I can." For a brief moment, she could have sworn the lamp grew warm in her hands, as if acknowledging her words. Olivia carefully set it back down, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. The rest of the day passed in a pleasant blur of wedding research and daydreaming. When Claire returned home that evening, they spent hours cuddled on the couch, discussing their hopes and plans for the future. As they drifted off to sleep that night, Olivia felt a profound sense of contentment. Her journey had been long and often difficult, but it had led her to this moment, safe in the arms of the woman she loved, with a bright future stretching out before them. She knew there would still be challenges ahead, but for the first time in her life, Olivia felt truly equipped to face them. She was whole, she was loved, and she was exactly who she was always meant to be. As the days turned into weeks, Olivia found herself settling into her new reality with a sense of joy and wonder that never seemed to fade. Each morning, she woke up grateful for the life she now had, a life that aligned perfectly with who she had always known herself to be. Wedding planning became a delightful whirlwind of activity. Olivia and Claire spent their weekends visiting potential venues, tasting cakes, and poring over endless catalogs of flowers and decorations. They finally settled on a beautiful outdoor garden for the ceremony, with a reception to follow in an elegantly restored barn. One sunny Saturday, Olivia went wedding dress shopping with her mother and her best friend Zoe. As she stood on the pedestal in a gorgeous lace gown, tears welling in her eyes, Olivia was struck by how natural it all felt. There was no lingering dysphoria, no nagging sense of not belonging. She was simply a bride, excited to marry the love of her life. "Oh, sweetheart," Martha breathed, clasping her hands to her chest. "You look absolutely stunning." Zoe nodded emphatically, wiping away her own tears. "Claire is going to lose her mind when she sees you in this." Olivia beamed at her reflection, smoothing her hands over the delicate fabric. "I think this is the one," she said softly. As the boutique owner helped her out of the gown, Olivia's mind flashed back to a conversation she'd had with Claire a few nights earlier. They had been discussing their plans to start a family, and Claire had brought up the idea of Olivia carrying their first child. "Are you sure?" Olivia had asked, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and anxiety. "I know we talked about it, but it's a big responsibility." Claire had taken her hands, looking deep into her eyes. "I can't think of anything more beautiful than watching you grow our baby," she'd said, "but only if you're comfortable with it. We have other options if you'd rather not." Olivia had felt a surge of love and gratitude for her understanding partner. "I want to," she'd replied, surprised by the certainty in her voice. "I want to experience pregnancy and childbirth. I want to feel our baby growing inside me." Now, as she changed back into her regular clothes, Olivia placed a hand on her still flat stomach. The idea of nurturing a new life within her body filled her with a sense of awe and anticipation. It was a gift she never thought she'd have, and she was determined to cherish every moment. As they left the bridal shop, Martha linked her arm through Olivia's. "I'm so proud of you, my darling girl," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Seeing you so happy, so comfortable in your own skin, it's all we ever wanted for you." Olivia leaned her head on her mother's shoulder, overcome with love and gratitude. "Thank you, Mom, for everything. I wouldn't be who I am today without you and Dad." The weeks flew by in a flurry of wedding preparations and everyday life. Olivia threw herself into her work as a graphic designer, tackling each project with renewed enthusiasm. She and Claire began the process of looking for a house, dreaming of a place where they could put down roots and raise their family. As their wedding day approached, Olivia found herself reflecting more and more on the magical lamp that had transformed her life. She kept it on display in their living room, a constant reminder of the incredible gift she'd been given. One evening, as she and Claire sat on the couch discussing their honeymoon plans, Olivia's gaze fell on the lamp. A thought occurred to her, and she turned to her fiancé with a slight frown. "Claire," she began hesitantly, "do you remember anything about my transition?" Claire looked at her quizzically. "Your transition? What do you mean, love?" Olivia's heart raced as she realized the full extent of the lamp's magic. In this new reality, there had never been a transition. She had always been female, in body and spirit. The pain and struggle of her past had been completely erased, leaving only the joyful memories of a life lived authentically from the start. "Never mind," Olivia said quickly, leaning in to kiss Claire's cheek. "Just a strange thought I had. Tell me more about the cruise itinerary you found." As Claire launched into an excited description of Mediterranean ports, Olivia sent up another silent thank you to whatever forces had brought her to this moment. The magic of the lamp hadn't just changed her body, it had rewritten her entire history, giving her the childhood and adolescence she had always longed for. The night before their wedding, Olivia lay awake long after Claire had fallen asleep. She thought about the journey that had brought her to this point, a journey that now existed only in her own memories. Part of her mourned for the struggles that had shaped her, the hard-won battles that had made her who she was. But as she looked at Claire's peaceful sleeping face, Olivia knew she wouldn't change a thing. The magic of the lamp had given her the chance to live her truth fully and completely. It had erased years of pain and replaced them with joy, love, and possibility. As she finally drifted off to sleep, Olivia's last thought was of gratitude. For the lamp, for her loving parents, for Claire, and for the beautiful life that lay ahead. Whatever challenges the future might hold, she knew she was ready to face them as her true, authentic self. The wedding day dawned bright and clear, as if the universe itself was celebrating their union. Olivia woke early, her heart fluttering with excitement and nerves. As her bridesmaids arrived to help her prepare, she was struck by a profound sense of rightness. This was exactly where she was meant to be. Martha helped her into her wedding gown, carefully arranging the delicate lace and smoothing out the train. As Olivia gazed at her reflection in the full-length mirror, she felt a lump form in her throat. The woman staring back at her was radiant, confident, and unequivocally herself. "Oh, my darling," Martha said, wrapping her arms around Olivia from behind. "You are the most beautiful bride I've ever seen." Olivia leaned back into her mother's embrace, overcome with emotion. "Thank you, Mom, for everything. I wouldn't be here without you and Dad." As the ceremony began, Olivia stood arm in arm with her father at the entrance to the garden. George looked at her with tears in his eyes, his chest swelling with pride. "Ready, sweetheart?" he asked softly. Olivia nodded, squeezing his arm. "More than ready, Dad." The music swelled, and they began their walk down the aisle. Olivia's eyes locked with Claire's, and the rest of the world seemed to fade away. Her bride looked stunning in a sleek white suit, her blue eyes shining with love and joy. As they exchanged vows and rings, Olivia's voice rang out clear and true. She promised to love and cherish Claire for all their days, to stand by her side through whatever life might bring. When the officiant pronounced them wife and wife, their kiss was met with thunderous applause from their friends and family. The reception was a joyous whirlwind of dancing, laughter, and heartfelt toasts. As Olivia and Claire swayed together during their first dance, Olivia felt as though her heart might burst with happiness. "I love you so much," she whispered, resting her forehead against Claire's. Claire's arms tightened around her waist. "I love you too, Mrs. Evans Parker," more than I could ever express. As the night wore on, Olivia found herself constantly marveling at the life she now had. She danced with her father, laughed with her college roommates, and posed for countless photos with Claire. Every moment felt precious, a gift she never thought she'd have. Finally, as the reception wound down, Olivia and Claire said their goodbyes and headed off to begin their honeymoon. They had a few days at a luxury resort before embarking on their world cruise, and both women were giddy with excitement. As they settled into their hotel suite that night, Olivia pulled Claire close. "Thank you," she said softly, "for loving me so completely, for seeing me for who I truly am." Claire cupped Olivia's face in her hands, gazing at her with adoration. "Loving you is the easiest, most natural thing in the world," she replied. "You are the other half of my soul, Olivia Evans Parker, and I can't wait to spend the rest of our lives together." As they fell into bed, wrapped up in each other's arms, Olivia sent up one last silent prayer of gratitude. The magic of the birthday wish lamp had given her an incredible gift, but the real magic was the love she shared with Claire. Together, they would build a beautiful life filled with joy, adventure, and endless possibility. Olivia drifted right off to sleep, secure in the knowledge that she was exactly where she was meant to be, whole, loved, and living her truth in every possible way. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.